This year, Alabama health officials are encouraging us to keep Thanksgiving gatherings small. Our Kenesha Diaz shares how you can be safe while spending time with your loved ones.
The Alabama Department of Public Health says the number of coronavirus cases are increasing and trending in the wrong direction. And with Thanksgiving ahead, here's some tips for you to follow to be safe.
You know, we're at a 10% positivity statewide, and looking just back in September, we were a little over 7%.
Dr. Karen Landers with ADPH says Thanksgiving should be less crowded this year.
Really, the safest way to have Thanksgiving this year is with your own household group, with your own family.
Landers says if you spend Thanksgiving with people outside your household, dinner should be outside.
Perhaps having a gathering of people, a relatively small gathering, probably less than 10 people, outside, socially distanced.
And if weather doesn't permit and your family is forced to stay indoors, Landers says make sure there's enough space and people aren't crowded in a small room.
You know, keeping the ventilation in the room, you know, very, very good. In addition to that, still keeping people socially distanced.
As for college students who are able to stay on campus, Landers says to weigh the risks before trying to come home. The same risks apply to anyone.
Are you going to travel across the state? Are you going to travel multiple states? Are you going to be in your car? Are you going to be on a plane?
Landers also recommends that people quarantine a couple weeks before traveling. She's also heard people talk about having virtual celebrations.
Consider the ways you can still spread, you know, joy and love while keeping safe. And I think that a lot of that is staying in smaller groups in, you know, your quarantine bubble, if you will, and reaching out in terms of virtual ways to talk to family.
And Landers says ADPH plans to roll out additional guidelines next week. Putting the Valley first, Kenesha Diaz, WZDX News.